Alright guys, so I'm going to be doing a review from another comic that was sent to me by my good friend Chris, aka the Mount Vernon Kid, and Chris sent me Fantastic Four Life Story. For those who don't know, the Fantastic Four is probably my favorite superhero team in comics. Yeah, it's a lot of fun, goofy science shit that I really enjoy, and I always love the family aspect of it. So, if you remember Spider-Man Life Story, this kind of follows the same thing. This was written by Mark Russell, and the artwork was done by, let's see, because it was done by, it's funny too, because the artwork instantly changes halfway through. It's mostly Francisco Mana, but then it immediately, like, halfway through issue 5, it turns to Carlos Mongo, who I also enjoy as an artist. He's done a lot of stuff, namely the Kong Planet of the Apes crossover that I really enjoyed. So this book, like I said, if you knew Chip Zdarsky's Spider-Man Life Story, this book kind of follows the same thing, where it follows the superheroes, and what if they aged from the 60s in real time? Like, we go into the 60s and go into the 2010s. So that's again, it follows the same kind of trope as Spider-Man Life Story, and honestly, I would absolutely love to see more of these Marvel Life Story books. I would love to see like a Hulk life story, or a life story centered around Captain America or Iron Man. Yeah, it's also interesting because this book was also written in the 60th as a 60th celebration of the 60th anniversary of Fantastic Four. Yeah. So, does Mark Russell do a good job at it? I think he does. I do think he does, because he kind of writes it in a very... He literally writes, like, how you think Fantastic Four would go. Like, it does kind of take its own story of talking about the space race, then we talk about, like, nuclear war, and of course Reed Richards and Tony Stark would be part of the Star Wars program. It also talks about, like, all these moments that happen, and also realistic things that would go on in interpersonal lives as well. They kind of, like, I love how Johnny talks about it. It's like, like, the Fantastic Four broke up in the like, the late 70s. I'll just say that. And Johnny's like, you know, it was kind of like the Fleetwood Mac of superheroes. It was all a bunch of solo acts living together. And I was like, that is a very good quote. Because you would think that, like, no superhero team would last that long. I mean, not even the Beatles lasted that long. Anyway. But... so the main crux of this story, like 5 out of 6 issue, well, the vast majority is, this is, like I said, a celebration of the Fantastic Four. And Mark Russell really does his homework in talking about this, because really, what are the main things that come to mind when it comes to Fantastic Four? Galactus and Doctor Doom. And trust me, he knows his work, because the main crux of it is, like, here's the thing. When they all get their powers in this continuity, Reed sees Galactus. He sees an image of Galactus, and it's almost like, it's actually like how you would think Galactus would be. Like, it's kind of like Cthulhu, where your mind wouldn't be able to mentally process what you just saw, and it's almost like becomes his white whale. So for decades, he's talking about what he calls the Galactus theory, where he talks about, like, Galactus is the reason why that we see no other alien races out there. And in this end, yeah, you'd think you'd see the Skrulls. You do for a hot second, but that's it. Like, Galactus has already taken care of it, and that's the thing, is that Galactus is like this ticking time bomb that's coming. And it's not like he's, zoop, I'm here. It's more like, he's in space, and he's in a very big ship. So, of course, he's like, in real time, he's just kind of chugging along. So, yeah. And I do like when, like, Galactus isn't brought up in, like, he shows up in, like, Reed sees him in the 60s, then Silver Surfer shows up in the 90s going, hey, in 10 years' time, my master is going to eat your planet. And it almost becomes like the world doesn't care anymore. Like, the world generally does not care, because they already have this feeling that Galactus is coming. And there's some great moments in here, like, we bring up a lot of, like, deep cuts regarding different characters. You see all these, like, very, like, these things only, like, a diehard Fantastic Four fan would know. What I also appreciate is that the Mad Thinker also gets a lot of limelight, too. I really do appreciate that the Mad Thinker, a Fantastic Four villain that a lot of people don't really talk about, but is horribly underutilized in most comics. Mostly used as a gag these days. Or just someone to punch. He's actually like a worthy character. He's like an important character and like a key piece in this story. I really do like that. Now, is this in... I know some people are going to ask, is this the same continuity as Fantastic Four, as Spider-Man Life Story? You could make that argument, but no, it's its own continuity. And this one really has a Watchmen feel to it, too. Whereas Spider-Man Life Story was more about, like, a celebration of Spider-Man and all of the era. Like, it crams all the eras of Spider-Man in each timeline. This one kind of looks through the time frame of the world in large, and what would it be like if the Fantastic Four, you know, Marvel's first family, and obviously they're the most important piece of the Marvel universe. Don't fight me on this, you will lose. And their effect on the Earth around them, and by and large the universe around them. So I really do appreciate that Mark Russell gives like a major reverence to the Fantastic Four and their place in the Marvel universe. So I really do like that. It really is a great book, and even if you aren't like a big Fantastic Four fan, I highly recommend it. Like, I generally highly recommend Fantastic Four Life Story. It has some great moments. I especially love the story in the 90s that focus, because each, like, the first 4 parts are told from the perspectives of different characters, and Ben gets the 90s. And Ben's my favorite member of the Fantastic Four, and he's one of my favorite Marvel characters. So, yeah, it's kind of nice to read that. And I would not be opposed to Mark Russell writing a Fantastic Four run. God knows he'd be better than Dan Slott, but that's just me. So there you go, guys. Once again, I'd like to thank my friend Chris, Mount Vernon Kid. Chris, thank you so much again for this, and the other books you'll be sending my way soon. Other than that, if you've read Fantastic Four Life Story, comment below, let me know what you guys thought of it. Just if you guys liked it, hate it, just let me know in the comments below. Other than that, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.